Right, so I've wanted to make this video for a while because I find it really interesting to talk about different strategies for language learning. So let's go straight into it. The first thing I'm going to recommend you do to actually, that's kind of uncommon, to improve your skills in a foreign language is to actually increase the video speed. And you might be thinking, why the hell would anyone do this? It's hard enough to listen to videos in a foreign language as it is, and I'll give you the reason. So when you're a beginner, you need to listen slowly, obviously, or you can't understand. When someone's speaking really fast in a foreign language, you just don't know what they're talking about. But here's the thing. As you get better in a foreign language, your ability to understand things faster is improving. And so what I recommend you do is you re-watch videos that you've already watched. When I say short videos, I don't mean like YouTube shorts. I mean like, could be like a 5-minute video, but you actually up the speed slightly. So if you watched it at normal speed, you could actually up it to 1.25. After you've watched the video a few times and you've actually become familiar with what they're talking about in the video, so you've kind of got an advantage, you can up the speed slightly and try watching it again. And you already know what's kind of being said, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult to understand what's going on because your brain has less time to process each individual morpheme and each individual word these people are saying. So I'd recommend you do this, and then you can actually up it a little bit more to 1.5, 1.75, 2 times speed. And obviously this is unrealistic. You're not actually going to watch every video like this, but if you watch a video at normal speed or maybe even slower, you can slowly up it over time. And what this actually does is it gradually, it's like rather than throwing you in hot water straight away, it's kind of gradually turning up the temperature. Not that anyone would want to jump in boiling water, but it's just an analogy. This will actually help your brain understand the things that are being said in the foreign language, and it will get you more and more familiar with people speaking faster. It's a bit challenging and it does force your brain to improve, but it's basically progressive overload. And if you haven't heard me mention progressive overload before, I'm going to link a video in the description to it, me discussing it. But basically progressive overload is the idea that you need to over time progress the difficulty of things, otherwise you're never going to improve. It's a gym term and it definitely applies to language learning as well. So I highly recommend you check that video out afterwards. The second uncommon tip that I'm going to give yourself is to record yourself. And although this isn't particularly uncommon, the way I'm going to get you to record yourself is different. So if you haven't heard of Vin Yang, I'm sorry, I don't actually know how to say his name properly. I don't think I've actually heard him say his full name before, but if I showed you a picture, you'd know who he is. He's like a famous public speaking coach, confidence coach, and charisma coach. And he does a lot of, he gives a lot of advice on improving your speaking. And I think a lot of it actually applies to learning foreign languages as well. So what I'd like you to do is to record yourself speaking in a foreign language, even if it's trash. You don't have to send it to anyone. You don't have to upload it to YouTube or anything like that. If you want to, you can actually join my Discord and you can practice speaking with people in my language learning Discord server, but that's completely up to you. So what you're going to do is you're going to read a paragraph. You can either speak from memory or you can read something and record yourself doing it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to watch it back, but in 3 different ways. The first time you're going to watch it back with no sound and you're just going to watch how you speak. And I want you to take notes on what the way you're speaking and what you actually want to improve upon. Do you like the way your mouth is moving? Do you like the gestures you're giving? Do you like how unconfident you seem? And you'll actually find that when you're speaking in a foreign language, even though literally nobody at all is watching you, you're going to seem very kind of nervous and timid and not confident at all. And this is not really good for being a good speaker at all. So that's one thing. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to watch the video back and you're just going to listen to it. You're not actually going to watch what you're saying, and you're going to listen to the sound. Do you like the way it sounds? How different do you sound to native speakers of the foreign language? Do you and a lot? Do you do a bunch of different vocal things that now that you're not concerned with what you look like, because a lot of people get caught up with what they look in video, you're just listening to the sound. What do you notice about your speaking that you can improve upon? And the third way, if you can do this, you don't have to do this last one if you have to pay money, but you can actually get the video transcribed. So you can put it through software. I think there's like Otter AI. There's maybe Riverside or something. There's a bunch of software, different types of software. Some of them are free. You can use to transcribe a video. So put it into like a text. And I want you to read the transcript with all of the ums and ahs and everything and see all the times you stuttered, all of the things you said that didn't seem to make sense. Because when you're speaking, you'll pick up on some things that you wouldn't pick up on, that you can't. When you're speaking, you won't pick up on some things that you would when you're reading. So when you're reading the transcript of what you might say, you might be able to easily see things that don't seem grammatically correct in the foreign language you're learning. And that will help you stop making those mistakes while you speak. Maybe you only make those mistakes while you speak and you don't make them while you're writing. So yeah, those are the 3 things I recommend you do when you record yourself. You can also just watch the video as normal as well, because it's just a good way to find things you don't like, find mistakes and that kind of things. And you should keep all of these videos stored as well so that you can look back over time and see the progress you've made. It's really wholesome to go back and see how absolutely dog shit you were at speaking in a foreign language and you've since gotten better. So yeah, that's what I'd highly recommend. Guys, the third tip I'm going to give you to get better, and I've put this in the uncommon video because I haven't really heard anyone, I don't think, talk about this, but it's to obsess over your biggest weakness. And I'm not talking about being a perfectionist or anything. This is about making progress. So a lot of people, that everyone wants to get better in a foreign language, right? But a lot of people don't actually do things that help them get better. They obsess over little things that frustrate them and they don't actually fix problems. The best way to get better in a foreign language is to have laser focus and to identify key things that you're not good at and then pursue them ruthlessly. So for example, if you're, what's a random thing you might not be good at? If you're not good at verb conjugation, you find it really difficult to conjugate verbs, for example, that can be your big weakness right now, and you specifically focus on that in the foreign language. So you write it down as your weekly goal. Every single day, you read a little bit about verbs, you study a little bit, you do some flashcards, you practice reading, you practice writing, you do whatever it takes to become better at understanding verb conjugation in the language you're learning, and you just focus on that. And as soon as you get good enough at that you can tick it off the list, you move on to the next thing. What a lot of people do is they're incredibly lazy, and it actually is laziness. They kind of do random things in the foreign language and feel deeply unfulfilled and frustrated that they're not making progress in the foreign language. And this is the solution to that, to have laser focus and to obsess over your biggest weakness. So right now, just a tip I'll give you is to grab your language learning notebook. I've got one right here. Make a page right at the top of the page, problem solving to-do list, and every time you encounter something you don't understand, I'm not talking about like a random word you don't understand, I'm talking about a specific topic. It could be case, it could be adjectives declining, it could be literally anything. Write those problems down and go after them until there's not a single problem left on that book, because the amount of problems you'll be writing down will be more than the amount of problems you're solving. So you will always have something to do until you're satisfied with how good you are at the language. So that's what I recommend you guys. As a bonus, if you want to jump on call with me completely for free, you can jump in the Discord below. I'm offering free calls to people who want to discuss language learning, and maybe they have a problem, maybe you want to talk to me about some difficulty you're having. I'm happy to solve it for you. And if you want to go even further, I've got my course linked below. You don't have to check it out if you don't want to, but I would highly, highly recommend you do. There is no way you couldn't learn a language with the stuff that I put in it. So guys, that is the video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching and have a good one.